shocker of a game, 0-0 between Chelsea and Liverpool. And that is the fourth time on the bounce that these two have played in a stalemate. And the last 20 minutes of that game is nothing short of embarrassing for both clubs, their histories, their heritages, and of course their fans. There was almost no attempt to win it the longer the game went on. The lack of clinical edge from Chelsea is a major problem. If they fell into a barrel full of boobs, they would come out sucking on their thumbs. And when it comes to Liverpool, that is another game without a goal, another game without a win. That is 3-4 on the bounce now with no win. 3 of their last 4 games with no goals scored. 8th position in the league, as you can see on the screen right now. 7 points away from the top 4. They have to beat Arsenal. Failure to beat Arsenal, and that's it. Season over. No trophies. An additional £150 million spent. Less than 50% of their games won. Nothing to play for at the beginning of April. It's a shocker. The starting lineup from Jurgen Klopp tonight, I don't really understand it. Maybe he's resting some players for Sunday. Maybe there was a feeling of, I'm going to punish a few people for terrible performances, the terrible display against Manchester City. But it was awful. Without Mo Salah, they don't look like they're ever going to score. They brought him in late. By the time when they brought him in, they lost all their any level of enthusiasm, any impetus, any kind of drive in the game that they had. The players are not playing for Jurgen Klopp. For me, it really is as simple and as straightforward as that. They are not playing for the man. They have had enough of him. And of course, I was cooked after the 7-0 mauling of Man United. Oh, you were wrong, Terry. You were wrong. I was ridiculed after they beat Newcastle. You're wrong, Terry. But for me, and someone in the comments says, resting for what? That's the only thing that would make any real sense, to rest that many of your top players. Unless it's a punishment. But if it's a punishment, why bring them on? That doesn't make any sense to me. But after the Newcastle and Man United wins, I was ridiculed for questioning Jurgen Klopp. Tom Little was ridiculed for questioning Jurgen Klopp. And the Klopp supporters, the FFG supporters, came out in force and said, we were right. We should have stood by this guy. No. You've got better players out there on the pitch than how you're performing. Season over at the beginning of April. And it was only given some hope by a fortuitous win against Newcastle and a shock result, an anomaly, a rocking horse shit performance against Manchester United. It's an embarrassment. And the fact that the media, journalists, the news outlets, TalkSport, the fact there isn't more pressure being put upon Jurgen Klopp, some Liverpool fans will see that as, that's good. I like the fact they're not doing it. Let's keep it that way. But it's bad for your football club. The lack of pressure on him is leading to overall complacency at your football club. At your football club. And tonight was an embarrassment. And the last 20 minutes, you might as well lose. You only gained 1 additional point for drawing. Go for it. Try and win. Against Bournemouth, the same thing. Not throwing the kitchen sink at it the later the game went on. So what if you lose 2-0? What if you concede on the break? If you'd have actually gone for both those games, all out gone for it in the last 15 minutes, you could have lost them both. And you'd have 1 less point than now. You might have won one of them. You might have drawn against Bournemouth and won today and have 4 points. And you'd be right in the race to be in the Champions League next year. It's an embarrassment. And Jurgen Klopp's job should be under massive pressure. Not just for producing that snorefest, but for the amount of money you spent, the regression, the lack of continuity. Listen, if Chelsea could score goals, and people laugh at players like Haaland for being tap-in merchants. Oh, Chelsea would have won 4-0 today with a tap-in merchant. Arsenal are going to absolutely rip Liverpool apart. I don't care that it's at Anfield. I'm going to discount this one because Arsenal are not Man United. Arsenal are at the peak of their powers. They are going to cut Liverpool limb from limb. If they give them 50% of the openings they gave Chelsea tonight, they lose by 2 or 3 goals. Facts. This Liverpool team is an absolute abomination to the football club. And I don't personally think Jurgen Klopp 100% should be sacked. I think his job should be under scrutiny. I think he should be under pressure. I think the Liverpool-based media, instead of attacking Arsenal, instead of attacking Man United's away record, by the way, I'm going to update it on the screen for you all right now when we look at the away form. Man United have been ridiculed in the last few days for theirs. We've actually dropped down to 7th tonight because Brighton won away from home, but we were 5th earlier on. Liverpool sit down there in 12th on 13 points. And there's Liverpool journalists and Liverpool pundits online in the mainstream media criticizing Man United's away form. We haven't been great, but we're at the beginning of a rebuild. We're 7 months in. You should be at the peak of your powers. £2 billion into your spending on players' salaries and agent fees. Premier League winners, Champions League winners, quad challengers last year, and there's no talk. You will barely see Jurgen Klopp spoken about on TalkSport tonight. And I use TalkSport as a yardstick because it's listened to. Every show at TalkSport is listened to by millions of people on radio. Forget what you see on social media. Millions of people on the radio listen to it. It's influential. And I won't criticize him. The focus will all be on Chelsea. And with Chelsea, I saw a little bit of hope tonight. I did. I saw a team with Kante back in this. By the way, Chelsea dropped off when Kante went off. Kante was class on the grass tonight. Brilliant. If they can get him back, there's talk about Man United going in for him in the summer. And what I saw tonight, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. He looked brilliant. They need a killer. They need some killers up front. The midfield tonight of Enzo, Kovacic, and Kante was brilliant, I felt. Defensively, they didn't really get troubled too much. Koulibaly's got to go. But Fofana had a good game. I actually thought Cucurella had, in my opinion, his best game in a Chelsea shirt tonight. I thought he was really good. Maybe I'm judging it on his Chelsea standards, but it was a good performance. Add another centre-back into that. Throw some proper attackers into, and I say proper attackers because João Felix is why I always call out eye test merchants. João Felix is an eye test merchant's dream. He's all about ability. There is zero end product with this guy. This man will take a girl out to the best restaurant. He'll buy her an amazing bag. He'll turn up with flowers before they go out. The food will be great. He'll pay the bill. He'll get a taxi home. He'll make her laugh on the sofa. They'll sip and drink wine together. And they crawl into bed. Flop. That's João Felix. Man's got he got the moves like Jagger. But man can't get stiff. Man can't penetrate. Man cannot finish anything off. Friend zone footballer. The ability of João Felix is amazing. However, I wouldn't say don't keep him. You've got to bring in a killer around him. You stick João Felix in the City team around Haaland. Woo! Woo! That's serious. But Chelsea, there's some hope in this team. They need to bring a permanent manager in now. They cannot be waiting until the end of the season. They're not going to finish in the top 4. We know this. But they can at least build some confidence as they go into that summer. And it's important. There is no such thing as dead rubbers for Chelsea. They have to build some confidence going into the summer to give their fans some hope. These players should be playing for their careers, even if they were signed in January. Standards have got to be put into that football club again because it's become a little bit lackadaisical. When you look at Chelsea and what they've been renowned for, it's what you've got to look at. And I mean what I say about João Felix. There's a player in there, but there's no end product. Listen, you've got to have end product as a footballer. But the midfield 3 tonight looked great. Fofana, Cucurella. I even thought Chilwell and Reece James were all right. Reece James still looks a bit sluggish to me. And I'm going to be a little bit offensive. He looks like he's carrying a few pounds still. Slim up a little bit. Maybe it's just the lighting. Maybe it's the blue shirt or something. I don't quite know. But for me, yeah, I did call João Felix a beta. Rumor has it he is. But look, at the end of the day, it was a snore fest of a game. But Liverpool should be the ones that are most embarrassed, in my view, because of who your manager is, who you have in your squad, and that last 20 minutes, too scared to lose that they didn't go for the win. And that is not Liverpool. That is not Jurgen Klopp even. That team isn't playing for this manager. Maybe it will turn around in the summer with an injection of new players, but there is a disconnect. There is a disconnect. There's no zip. There's no movement. And people can say all they want that it's a shit team. They're only right now, what, 7, 8 months older than 9 months older, I suppose, than a team that nearly won the quad. And you threw Gakpo and Darwin Núñez into this. They shouldn't be this bad. The drop off is too severe. There's a disconnect. How do I know this? Because I've been watching football for too long. Far too long. Seen it before. And I know certain Liverpool fans don't want to challenge Jurgen Klopp. I understand that because you love him. But if you're putting Jurgen Klopp above your club, I'm challenging you as a Liverpool fan. I don't believe you're a Liverpool fan. No football fan ever puts a player or a manager above their club. You can't. I'm not saying call for him to be sacked, but the man needs challenging. It's 2 games running where he's got it wrong. The higher line continues to be exposed. And I said it earlier on in the video, Arsenal, if you give them these opportunities on Sunday, they're going to draw and quarter you. Guy Fawkes settings. Hung, drawn, and quartered in public. If Trent plays against Martinelli and they give him as much space as Kai Havertz was afforded tonight, the boy is getting circumcised live on television on a Sunday afternoon. Legitimately. Circumcised. Jesus against Van Dijk or Konate or Matip, with the space that Liverpool allow attackers to have and the room in behind. And remember, the only Liverpool player tonight that walks away with any ounce of credibility again is Alisson Becker. Has to be their player of the year. But when your goalkeeper is your player of the year, it is the sign of embarrassment. I think David De Gea won it about 4 or 5 times at Man United. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. It's embarrassment. Should never be winning it. Ever. Goalies should never be winning it. But they are. And again, that's safe from Kai Havertz. I mean, Kai Havertz should be scoring. I mean, that guy. Legitimately. I swear to God tonight, if he got taken out on the town to a brothel, it was all bought and paid for, he'd still foul. He'd still foul to score. Even if it was paid for. It'd ruin it. And he did score. I thought, I deflected and went in. And even that at his end, honestly, it was a horrible watch tonight as a football fan. I understand it a little bit with Chelsea, the turmoil, the managerial changes, but it's crazy. So we're going to go to some of the super chats. Then Husam's going to come out. Then we've got a brilliant panel for you tonight. So stay with the terrace. Hit the like buttons right now, though. And remember, by the way, record numbers today on the top 6 podcast on Spotify. I can give you the exact number of downloads. I don't know how this compares to other podcasts because I don't have their analytics. But today alone, just under 3,000 downloads on Spotify. So I'm so humbled that so many of you are doing it. Get yourselves across and get listening. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the live comments section now, please, people. Get that done. Lots of super chats here. First one says, Fofana, Enzo, Kante were great. Disappointed. Should have won. 39 shots in 2 games, 0 goals. Anthony Taylor, shocking again. Fab and Matip should be off. Matip, you'd have to remind me. There was that tackle. I think it was foot ankle height. Yellow card, probably. Fabinho should have gone. You're right. There was 2 cynical fouls. And the fact that Konate wasn't booked as well quite late in the game, and he booked Curtis Jones for dissent. I get you. Chelsea and Liverpool, 4 straight games being 0-0. I mean, it's an embarrassment to both clubs, that. The size of the clubs. But you saw in the last 20 minutes, there was this fear factor. They didn't want to lose. That should never be the case. Table doesn't lie, Terry. Both been poor, lacked quality. Chelsea are done, and Liverpool will be too if they don't beat Arsenal on Sunday. Yeah, their seasons are both certainly over. But Chelsea have still got the Champions League, so they still have games that mean something. But if you can't score goals, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. Ray here says, Liverpool, no hope playing like that. Yeah, they're not making the top 4 now, Liverpool. It's dead. It's absolutely dead. How can 2 teams be so awful? These 2 are done. You're absolutely right there, Joshua. If they play like this against Arsenal, they will get hammered. Arsenal are playing for a trophy and Liverpool aren't playing for anything. You're right. They'll get torn apart. Anfield or no Anfield. And Liverpool fans were up for the United game because it's Manchester United. We're everybody's rivals. Look at the Newcastle fans the last few days. We're everybody's number 1 rivals. But Arsenal will beat them. I'm not saying they'll smash them. I think it will be a close scoreline because Anfield will be noisy. The players will probably try a bit harder, but that would make me even angrier tonight as a Liverpool fan. There'd almost be a part of me that would say, if you can turn up for that game and work hard and run and go for it, and you didn't tonight, you should be sold. That's the lack of professionalism. That's choosing to be shit. Why would you ever put up with that as a fan? Liverpool fans have got too much pride in their club to watch players down tools when they want. They should all be called out. Big up, Terry. That was one hella boring game. It was, my bro. Frozen TV settings give everybody their money back. It was poor tonight. I wish I was watching The Night Agent. It's a good show that on Netflix. Check it out. Thank you, Ben. There was no comments, but thank you. Watch any City or Arsenal game, then see this. Listen, I bet the Brighton. I mean, I follow the top six. Remember the original I can't speak. Multi-fan channel. I have to watch this game. It's my job. I literally am contracted to do it. But I wish I bloody wasn't. Enzo Ferrari Nandez, what a baller. Yeah, he looked good tonight. I was really impressed with Chelsea's central midfield. The biggest drop-off we've seen by so-called champions-elect. If Arsenal win this league, Arsenal will go to town on this one Premier League legacy of theirs. I hope Arsenal have got more than one Prem. I hope we're not thinking football started 5 years ago, but Liverpool's, if you're speaking about them, absolutely. Sarim here, who is a Liverpool fan, says, 1,000 reasons why Klopp deserves the sack. Choose one. You tell us why, bro. I'd love you to tell us why more than anything else. I'm not going to say it because Husam's coming on in a minute and he's going to have a go at me. Big up, Terry. We need Felix in the summer and 2 central midfielders, a right-footed centre-back to replace Maguire. Listen, I would still take... I know what I said about Felix earlier. I'd take him. But he can't be your main source of... What Felix's job, I think, needs to be is the facilitator to, in Man United's terms, would be to Bruno Fernandes and Rashford and Harry Kane when we sign him. He can't be the guy in terms of the system. He can't be the final piece of the puzzle to either play the final ball or shoot on goal because the man's shooting blanks. He's shooting blanks. Liverpool's lineup for this game showed the Arsenal game means more to them than this one. You can't tell me they didn't rest players. Well, I've said that. That must be the only reason. Has to be the only reason that he did it. But it shows how much he's worried about Arsenal this weekend. And said it earlier, Liverpool fans are scared. Liverpool Football Club are scared of what Arsenal are going to do. Not in the game individually, but winning the title. And maybe that's why he did it. Matip had no yellow for that tackle, then got a yellow for stopping a counter-attack. That's 2. Then an elbow foul in the face of Felix. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I thought Fabinho maybe could have gone. There was an early tackle from Matip. I think it was a yellow. But, yeah, we know what refs are like these days. And there'll be an innocuous tackle tomorrow that gets a red card. First 11, subs, tactics, minus Klopp equals relegation is what Omar says. We know, well, maybe that could be the case. Right, keep those super chats coming, my beautiful people. Husam's coming out first, and then we're bringing out the panel. Hit the like button. Let's get it past 1,000. 4,000 of you watching, which is amazing. Hello. So Jess just got back from LA. I haven't seen her for 2 weeks. She just walked in. But I've got to work. So after work, remember, never take days off work, people. Only weird people do. I'm joking. Take as much time off as you want if you want to be a failure. Time for the Don. The Don's coming out now. Let's talk a bit of Jurgen Klopp. Let's go. Bro, welcome back to the show. Another awful night, really, footballing wise for Liverpool. You didn't lose, but talk to me about that performance. How you feeling?
I mean, before you added me, you said time for the Don. When it was time for the Don last summer, they didn't want to listen. They blocked me. They called me negative for views. They wanted to fight me. I warned them what was about to happen this season. No one wanted to listen. We're crap. It's just as simple as that. We're shit. We changed the players. We changed the way we play. Whatever it is, we are shit. The only way you solve this problem is by buying players or getting rid of the manager. There is no other solution. There is no third solution. There is no fourth solution. The club that I'm playing against is the exact reason why I don't want Klopp sacked. Because they got rid of the elite manager, and now we see where they're at. My problem with the whole Klopp situation is as follows, and I'm going to answer your question because I know you're going to ask me about him. Very simply, there's 2 things. Number 1, I don't trust ownership to employ the right guy if they sack Klopp. Meaning, if they sack Klopp, they're not going to get Enrique, they're not going to get Zidane, they're not going to get Ancelotti, they're not going to get upper-tier elite-level coaches. They're going to go get Amorim or blah, 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 who's going to need another 2-3 year process, who won't command the respect of the dressing room, and it's just back to the shits again. Number two, do I trust the ownership to give said manager, if they get him correct, the money? Also, no. So I'm in a situation where I'm going to stick with Klopp, and I need him to be ruthless this summer. Now, for me, this is a failure of a club as a collective. I've always kept the same energy. The players hold blame, the manager holds blame, the assistant, the ownership. This is not simply a one guy's fault, two guys' fault, etc. And remember on the start of the season when you brought me on and you kept asking me questions about Trent and, this player, that player. And I told you, Terry, if I'm speaking to a different guy, they'd ask me about a different guy. Like if I'm speaking to someone who maybe has a little bit of a dislike for Van Dijk more, he'd ask me about him. If I'm speaking to someone who has a dislike for Salah more, he'd ask me about him. And the truth is, all the world-class players have let us down. And today, you see with Henderson and the Alisson situation, Alisson is basically publicly saying, no one respects you anymore. That's why Trent told him to piss off. That's why Van Dijk fought with him at the scene. Alisson fought with him. There's glaring problem in this midfield, and that's Henderson. Henderson is shouting at Alisson. Alisson is the reason why we're not 16th. Henderson is one of the main reasons why we're 9th. You're shouting at him? Today, I've counted 7 times in which the ball was in a dangerous position and Henderson failed to make the right pass or the shot or whatever it is. This is no longer an agenda. This is a glaring problem with this team. Once again, the good performance today, Ibrahim Konate I thought was good. Gomez was good as the right back. Alisson good once again. Probably in the first 12 minutes, he saved like 3-4 chances. In midfield, I thought Fabinho was okay. Not like world-class Fabinho level, but he was okay. Like he was good. Curtis Jones had a good first half, surprisingly. Second half, he just went to the shits. Just typical Curtis Jones crap. And the front three, this is where I question Klopp. The substitutions. The substitutions for me were illogical because number one, you don't bring off Firmino or Nunez. Those two were significantly better than Jota today. Jota should have been the guy that came off today. I thought the subs should have been made a little bit earlier. And if we go back to the starting 11, I had a problem because once again, I'm out of the FA Cup. I'm out of the Carabao Cup. I'm out of the Champions League. I've got nothing else. This is it. What am I resting for exactly? And to all the people that are saying he's resting for Arsenal, guys, this was the more winnable game. Chelsea are shit and they're 11th. And they lost to Aston Villa and Southampton and multiple different teams. This was the winnable game today. Sunday is not the winnable game. Sunday is a difficult game because now I've got to worry about Jesus. And I've got to worry about Trossard. And I've got to worry about Saka. And their midfield overrunning our midfield. And their defense stopping our attack. So I've got a whole load of shit to worry about when it comes to Arsenal. But when it comes to Chelsea today, you see why they're 11th. We should have taken advantage of that. But once again, if I was honest, the more likely team to score was actually Chelsea. They were more likely to score than us. And that for me is the most embarrassing thing above all. And here we are yet again, Terry. Are you going to make the top 4? No, we're not. Are we in a top 4 race? No, we're not. And now all I ask of Liverpool Football Club is one simple thing. If you're going to be crap, please just be crap all the way. Finish 9th. I don't want to finish 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. I don't need Europa League. And I damn sure don't need no Conference League. Get me 9th, and let's play a game a week next season, and let's take it from there.
Do you know what? It's why your banter the other day towards Man United. Like you heard me in the space. I was more annoyed at Man United fans for falling for it than what you said because you man are in the mud. We ain't perfect, but you would swap places with us this season in terms of where we are, what we've won, and United fans have got to learn to grow a backbone and some thicker skin. But on the Jurgen Klopp stuff. This is where I get your point. And there was a comment that came in from Josh who said, who would Husam want to replace Klopp? So you don't think there's adequate replacement out there? If you could have any manager to come in now, barring Pep, who would you break the bank, buy his contract out? Who's good enough to replace Klopp in your opinion?
I don't even want to break the bank. There's 2 people who are available right now in Zidane and Enrique. I think they probably, they could change our fortunes right now. But once again, Terry, there's 10 games left to the end of the season. Would you take the risk now or would you wait till the summer? Personally, I'm not Klopp out. I'm not. I'm just going to give him this summer and next season. I'm not going to be Klopping forever. The credit in the bank has been cashed in, my guy. He's cashed it in this year. But for me now, I'm just waiting. This summer, I need to see ruthlessness. And next season, there is no excuse. I don't give a fuck what it is. We have to win the Premier League or win the Champions League. Simple as that. Because you don't have a spine of 4, 5, 6 world-class players, and you don't do it this way.
you're not going to be in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, but you get my point. If somehow we end up there, win the Prem then. Win the Prem. Win the Prem. We have to win the Prem. If we play one game a week, Terry, we have to win the Prem. We have.
Well, this is the thing. My issue with Klopp, and people think I hate him. I don't. People think, oh, you're just desperate for him to leave Liverpool. There's partly that, but I truly believe that there's just a disconnect between him and these players. And I get the point. I think the Milners and the Hendersons have got to go. You bring a Luis Enrique in. I actually have a feeling that Salah scored lots of goals but hasn't been at his best. I think you see Fabinho and I think you see Van Dijk, Trent. I think you see him get back to their levels. Doing what Fergie did, where you stay at a place 2.5 decades, is crazy. Staying at a place 7 or 8 years, even in the old days of the 60s and 70s, was considered long term. It's very hard to keep a team at the highest level as long as Jurgen Klopp has been there. And that isn't, I'm not saying that because I'm hating on Liverpool. I'm just looking back through the history of our game. In the UK, that's a normal pattern. Once you start getting towards your 7th and 8th years, it's hard. You almost look at Wenger. Wenger probably should have walked away from Arsenal in about 2007, 2008, 2009. That's just when he started to just lose his ability to be one of the favourites. He was still a very good manager, but that's when they should have gone, right, let's go and get a world-class man. They should have gone after a Pep Guardiola after he left Barcelona. They should have gone for a Jurgen Klopp because they were ahead of City and Liverpool at those times. And that's what you guys have just got to be mindful of, that you don't stick with Klopp for another year or two, and then 2 or 3 world-class managers end up at rivals. Because the problem is, you guys did it to Man United with Klopp. Once Klopp or Pep joins City or Liverpool, he'll never be a Man United manager. So depending on who Enrique joins or Zidane joins, depending on how good Nagelsmann turns out to be, as an example, you may not rate him. You may miss the opportunity to ever see that manager come to your club. And there was a few City fans that have said this, that they were eyeing up Ten Hag as Pep's longer term replacement. That's not going to happen now. So if he ends up being a brilliant signing, I'm not saying that they wish they got rid of Pep. But say Pep don't win anything this year, doesn't win anything next year, and leaves, they'll probably think, I should have cashed out a year earlier. Hindsight's lucrative, but it's going to be an interesting one, mate. And
this is why I'm just saying next year, by the way. Just next year. I'm not saying keep him 2 or 3 years, just 1 year. That's it.
Yeah, I hear you. Sunday, how are you feeling about playing Arsenal with how good they are, your form? Because for you this was the game that you always guaranteed 3 points in. How do you feel, and how do you believe it's going to go on Sunday?
This Liverpool team is so unpredictable. Could we turn up against Arsenal and get something? Probably. But I think my thing is with Arsenal is they just have too many threats. You're talking about Trent this, Trent that. Robertson's been just as crap. Saka could send him to the shops easily. You've got the Trossard problem. You've got the Martinelli problem. You've got the Jesus problem. Their midfield's going to outrun our midfield. So I have no idea. Unless the players, for some godly reason, feel so motivated to turn up against Arsenal. For some reason, whatever the reason it is, some reason, something happens and the sky rains and it's miracles and they want to turn up, then maybe we can turn up. But if I'm being real, I think we probably lose that game, to be honest with you. And Arsenal are going to run us over, specifically in midfield. In that Arsenal game, there's one message, though, that will be sent that's a lot more important than what could happen in that game.
Is there another plane flying over? Are there another plane that you guys have sorted out? Well, we'll keep our eyes out for that and we'll promote it because you know me, Liverpool or not, bad owners need to be called out 110%. And I'll stand by that because football's important. But Sam, I know you got to shoot and I know you got to go elsewhere. Thanks for coming on, brother. Always appreciate it, my man. And we'll chat again soon. Thank you, my G. We're going to bring the panel out in just a moment. We've got David, we've got Tom Little, we've got Matt, we've got Andrew, we've got Chelsea OG. We're going to have Don come on, DR, Sharim as well. They're going to come on as callers tonight. So stay with the Football Terrace. Lots more opinions to come. Send your questions into us. We want to know what you're thinking and feeling. This here says, football will humble you. Liverpool have moved from quad to 7-Up merchants. It's sad. Not for me. I love it, brother. Donald Trump is going to jail or prison was more entertaining than this. If anyone thinks that he's going to be found guilty, you're kidding yourselves. I work at a deli and they were virtually no customers because of that. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to get involved in political stuff. I listened to Russell Brand made a video about it, and I'm like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. he's just running for president again, and they try to throw dirt at him. But there we go. I hope he doesn't win the election, but I guarantee it. I'll make a bet now, £100 bet with you, GK. He doesn't go to prison. Martinelli versus Trent. There will be there no matter what. Yeah, listen, it's going to be amazing to see. It's going to be amazing to see that matchup. Legitimately, it is. Right, let's bring up my beautiful panel now, people. Let's go. There we go. Everyone's in now. I think everyone's there. Right, that's it. We'll add some more callers in a bit. Where do we start today, gentlemen? Liverpool or Chelsea? What are we starting with? We're going to go to Tom. What are you saying, Tom? What are you saying, Tom?
That. Do you know how bad it is that I've left that game going? That was one of our best performances in 2023. That's just a testament to how far we've fallen. I'm sitting there going, we've had worse than that. We've had worse than that. And once again, the manager, I'm going to question you. Let's just look at the subs. The tactics were crap, but I wasn't expecting anything when I saw that starting 11. The subs. You had Roberto Firmino, who was having a solid game. Really good close control, good link-up play. Darwin Núñez, the biggest threat in our attack, was causing Fofana some problems. It was causing the only problems that we had. And what you ended up doing was taking both of those off and leaving Jota on. And Jota stunk up the gaff. But we leave Jota on. We brought Milner on so we could break Frank Lampard's record at Stamford Bridge. Not because we could go on and win the game. No, because we only care about records. That's what we're all here about. The manager, I'm sorry, this has been going on for too long. Too long. Yes, we were good last season. We were good last year. But the problems were there at the back end of last season. We were conceding goals early. We were not being able to get these solid wins. And it's carried through to this year. And when we don't have the mentality of winning a trophy earlier on, it crumbles. And Husam was on earlier and he was saying, oh, well, I just need Klopp to do this, and this next year. For Klopp has never done that in the past. Why is he going to suddenly change 3 to 4 aspects of his management like that? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's what gets me.
Can I ask you a question, Tom? Why did he rotate so much of your players tonight when, as Sam said, this was the more winnable game than Arsenal, even though you're at home? He rotates the players, and then in the last 20 minutes, let's have it right, Liverpool did not try to win this game. You didn't try to win it at all. No. Why? Surely that's not acceptable as a Liverpool fan.
No, I don't get what he was doing. I don't get. You could hire a group of Harvard scientists. They would not be able to explain that decision-making process tonight that led to that team, that led to them subs. If you're not going to start Salah, what was the point in bringing him on if you're then not going to go for the game? If you're not going to attack down his side? We brought Mo Salah on and then attacked for the last 20 minutes down the left-hand side of the pitch. It made zero sense. It's bad. It is bad when I'm leaving this game going, Curtis Jones was one of our best players. Curtis Jones should not be at the level where I'm leaving games going, he's one of our best players. But he was one of our best players today. And the thing that summed it all up was the Alisson, Henderson, Matip moments. Jordan Henderson, captain. Yeah, sound. Whoop-de-doo. He's very quick to give a big shout and a big moan and a big square up to others when they make a mistake. But not only a minute later did the man, when we were having a sustained attack down the other end, Salah plays the ball out wide to him. He's open, unmarked. He manages to miss the ball on a simple control. It goes out for a throw-in, and we don't attack them for 10 minutes. Everything was wrong. Everything was crap. This team is done. This team is done. This team needs to be blown up. It is done. Their mentality isn't there, and you're not getting that back from these players. Their legs are gone. You're not getting that back from these players. This needs to go. We need a full reset. We need a full reset because this is done. We've held on to it for too long. This is done.
Manager out then. Klopp's got to go.
Ruben Amorim, he wrote off Ruben Amorim. Oh, we can't be taking a project manager. He's not a project manager. He's won stuff.
You have a project manager.
Exactly. But we're saying we don't want a project manager, and then we're saying, oh, we'll give Klopp time to turn this round. We'll let Klopp have a project time frame for the next phase of this rebuild. No, if you want Luis Enrique, you judge Klopp by Luis Enrique standards. So you should be expecting a Premier League next year. You should be expecting multiple trophies next year. You can't sit there and go, for Enrique, I expect this, but for Klopp, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't work like that, because we hold out Klopp to higher standards. Klopp is paid £13 million a year. He's not paid £30 million a year for top four. He's not paid that. So why are we judging him by top four standards? Why are we judging him by the standards we held Brendan Rodgers to? This is the part that gets me. We have to move on. Klopp built us up to this. Very nice, very good. That was his job, but fair enough. We then just don't stagnate. We don't just stop, because that's it. We continue to grow. We outgrow managers. That is what happens. Managers move on. We are Liverpool Football Club. We are not Klopp FC. There is a life after Klopp, and the sooner people realise that, the better.
Listen, Tom, I hear what you're saying there, mate. I love the passion. And listen, I agree with you. I just don't think he's turning this around. We are going to move on to Chelsea in a bit. But I want to ask Chelsea fans here that have seen a lot of managers come in and go, David, do you think the time has come at Liverpool for Jurgen Klopp to go? Do you think he has run his course? I know you're someone that knows German football well. Can he turn this around, in your opinion?
He can, but I don't think he can at Liverpool. I think he has the talent to do so, but I don't think Liverpool are willing to invest enough for it to happen, because there are just players there who shouldn't be there anymore. Curtis Jones was their best player today. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. Like, what's it? Who else was playing today? I forgot who was even playing. Matip. He passed it. He's done.
Tsimikas.
Please.
I never rated Tsimikas. I remember that at the start of the season, people were saying Tsimikas should start with a Robbo. I'm thinking, he's useless. He's awful. He scored a penalty and won a Carabao Cup. That's it. That's what he's done. He's been here for like 5 years. He's done nothing. Like, honestly, I don't have an issue with Klopp. My issue is Liverpool aren't acting like a big club, and that's why it won't work. They're gonna have to, if they want to do project manager, they can do that, but it won't be with Klopp. They're gonna have to get in someone brand new who will just take whatever they get and hope they can spin it into something that works. Because that's what they did with Klopp, and it worked. Because every signing when they were like, at Klopp was just perfect. Now they've got to a stage where it's like, oh, it's not working anymore. And they've got to clear this squad out and refresh. Are they going to do it in enough time for Klopp to do a full rebuild? I'd argue no. Yeah. Unless Klopp wants to sit there and be mediocre for 4 years. I don't think he does.
I don't think Klopp lets go of certain players, though.
I think
we understand so many players need to go. They've ran their course. But I can guarantee you, if you were to put everyone on the chopping block and tell Jurgen Klopp he could save 3 players next year, he'd sooner save Henderson than half the actual good players in the squad. That's the issue. Yes, his loyalty can get you to a certain height. But it's like that thing. He gets winged, but then he flies too close to the sun. He holds on for too long. And now it's hurting us more than it's helping us. Jordan Henderson should not be starting all these games, but he's a dead set on that team sheet. Week in, week out, despite being the worst midfielder, week in, week out. But he shouts and he runs round for 5 minutes. So, yes, let's have that.
I hear you. Ram, what's your take on this? Because we can assess the game, but there isn't much in the game to assess. That's the problem. I don't really think Liverpool had a moment that I can remember in the game where you thought, a bad decision that didn't go their way or a moment they could have taken. It was one of the worst performances of the season. A lot of people are looking at players. A lot of people are looking at the manager. I get the owners are a key issue here. But do you think Jurgen Klopp has run his course now? I know you're someone that's always backed him, but is it time for Jurgen Klopp to hang up his boots, as it were? Oh, just as we put him in, his signal goes.
That question was that powerful. It sent him out.
He disappeared. I don't know where he went. He literally disappeared and he went away. I've got another Liverpool fan backstage, Sarim. Somebody else dropped out there. I'm not sure who that was.
OG dropped out.
OG dropped out. Sarim's here. He's a Liverpool fan. What you saying, bro?
Bro, he should have been sacked in Jan after that Brentford game. He's made too many mistakes. I deeped it, bro, a couple of weeks ago. No, wait, not a couple of weeks ago, after the City game. Gerard Houllier got sacked after one bad season. Rafa Benitez got sacked after one bad season. Roy Hodgson got sacked after half a bad season. Dalglish got sacked for one bad season. Rodgers got sacked for one bad season. Klopp has had two bad seasons, and somehow he's staying. Make it make sense, please. Explain to me how that works. I just don't get it. I like the guy. I love him to bits. I'll always love him to bits. But he's run his course. I said after the Brentford game, he needs to go. He needs to go now.
Yeah, listen, I totally understand that, and it's a hard one because I've had people come at my manager this week and say, "Oh, you know what? If Ten Hag was performing like this at Bayern Munich, he'd be sacked." Yeah, but Bayern Munich are top of the tree, peak of their powers in a one-horse race. Of course, if you're sitting fifth on 50 points, you've got to go. But Jurgen Klopp's drop-off is so dramatic; he should lose his job, and it's the second time he's done this. The first time round, the injuries were used as an excuse. It doesn't seem to be
that's a bullshit excuse.
Registering in the right way anymore because you shouldn't be sitting eighth in the league. You shouldn't be eighth because
not a chance.
So many of the teams above you don't have your quality of player. They just don't.
Agreed, 100%. Even if we had a drop-off, I'd expect top four minimum and at least competing for a trophy. It's April. What we're doing with ourselves. I didn't even watch a game today, bro. I was in the mosque. I can't be asked watching this crap. I watched the City game and I thought, this is the same game against Napoli. We've done this against Leeds at home. We did it against your mob at Old Trafford. I couldn't even fucking believe that game. I've not been on this for ages. Honestly, I was so pissed off after that United game. Like, how are you going to Old Trafford and you're not even turning up? And that was a terrible United team. They got beat by Brentford 4-0. They've done it against Nottingham Forest. They've done it to Real Madrid over 2 legs. Brentford away. There's loads, bro. Pick one. Just pick a game. And it's the same thing over and over again. For me, it's simple. Like, they don't work hard enough. They're not running hard enough. They're fucking scared. Like, why are you scared? Last season, you were the most fair team in Europe. And now you walk around like a bunch of kids. Honestly, and that's the nicest thing I can say. Listen, I've got other things I can say about him, but oh my God. Like, yeah, he needs to go. Like,
we have won 5 games out of 17 in 2023. 5 games out of 17 in 2023. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. That is
absolutely
that's our record.
That is sackable.
And one of those was a 3rd round replay against Wolves. We had 4 league wins.
With all due
we didn't win a
respect
single
as well.
Champions League game. A joke.
Yeah.
That's
with all due respect to Chelsea as well, people. He should be. He knows himself. He should have been sacked, but he still carries on. He's staying to the end of the season at least. Right? I fully expect it. Like, I don't think we're going to sign the players that we say we're going to sign. We might sign 1 or 2 max, which isn't enough. If he doesn't walk, he is part of the problem. He is definitely part of the problem. If you can't see that, I'm sorry. Like,
do you know what makes that
there's
worse
nothing more
as well?
he can do for you.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what makes it worse, though? This form, and he acknowledges that he should have been sacked. He says, if this was any other manager, he would have been sacked, you know. I'm only here off what I've done in the past. Yes, that's fine. But if you know that you're doing it wrong, if you know that you're in the wrong, change something. But he doesn't change anything. I have seen the same 4-3-3 be used regardless of personnel, regardless of system, regardless of opposition. We could be in a war zone. He could be on the battlefield and he'd still line up on 4-3-3. That'd be his military formation. There has to be an evolution. There has to be a change.
There absolutely does.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on, mate. You're calling. Go on.
The worst thing about it is, like, he went into the season claiming that he has 9 centre mids. What more do you want? 3 of them are injury prone. One of them is a pensioner. One of them's a fucking backup Love Island star. Fabinho's jumped off a cliff. I don't know what's happened to him. And 2 of them are kids. What are you going to do with that midfield? Sorry, no. And then he goes, I was wrong, you were right. And to rectify it, he goes and gets another injury-prone midfielder who's played 13 minutes all season.
Yeah.
What kind of well-run club does that? They signed a player, paid him money just to be an NHS patient along with Keaton Oxlade-Chamberlain.
We
Listen,
paid him
I
money to
think-
shake Pep Guardiola's hand.
honestly,
That's his.
this
That's his
season's
Liverpool. He shook
horrible.
Pep Guardiola's hand.
I think what we've worked out is that the difference between Klopp's Liverpool and the Liverpool of Roy Hodgson is simply Sadio Mane. That's it. That's the only difference between those two teams is that one player. Super Chat here says, new coach with your same we don't spend culture will still foul at Liverpool. But do you know what I think it is, Israel? I don't ever think, I said at the time when Liverpool were winning, that they don't behave in a way as a club where they can do what a Liverpool did in the 70s and 80s, what Man United did for 2 decades, what City are doing now. But they spend enough and they invest enough to get a team that will compete and will win some trophies as a team goes through its cycle. The problem is you can't have that same manager most of the time. You have to change. Fergie's a one-off. And even with Wenger I think Wenger might have been at Arsenal longer than maybe in the Premier League anyway, more games than what Fergie had. But even then, he should have left a decade earlier. Staying somewhere for more than, it's getting towards a decade now. It's very, very difficult to do, Israel. This here says, this was the most energetically flaccid. Is that energetically? Is that the word? Energetically flatted football from us, Chelsea. Sorry to be R-rated, but it's like trying to bang a chick with a limp dick. All energy, no output. I literally said this at the start of the show. You might have been tuning in. Giant Kai, Zhao, and Cover get out. I wanted to ask about Chelsea as we move forward on this show. David, I'm going to go to you first. What did you make of your performance tonight?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't want to sound like Graham Potter, but Graham Potter in his last game said Chelsea are really good until they get to the box. And I may not have agreed with a lot of what Graham said. That I agree with. Because today, oh my God, the build-up play was great. The holding of the ball, the passing out the back, all of it was good. And then for some reason, they get to the box and all their heads just go. How we weren't 3-0 up in the first 15 minutes, I don't know. I actually don't. Because Kovacic rounded a keeper, and shot, got blocked and shot again, and he missed. Havertz, I have no words. And Felix is fancy Havertz. Felix is, I'll look really good,
Spicy.
but I'll still miss. I don't know what to do. I don't. The thing is, I like the signings that we've made so far because you can see what the club is thinking and what they're trying to do. However, we haven't made enough signings to build a whole squad in like 4 weeks. Like you just can't do that. So as of right now, it is what it is. We're not going to score many goals. We're not going to do anything. If we win the Champions League, would it shock me? No. But you know what? It's probably not going to happen. We've just got to wait till next year. That's it.
What you realize when it comes to Chelsea is this: scoring goals in football is the hardest skill. It's the hardest skill because you've got so many players out there that young kids online would go, he's a baller. I don't need stats to measure this guy. He's a baller. There's loads of ballers out there, but there's no one that can do. There's no one that's a complete footballer and not a complete attacker. João Felix, as you say, a spicy Havertz is a great way of putting him. I think there's a real good player in there, but his shooting is horrendous. It's crazy. It really, really is crazy. Matt, from your point of view, obviously Graham Potter's gone. Not a huge improvement there. Jesus Christ, it was like Satan came alive then. Fuck me. Talk to me, Matt. Talk to me.
I don't really have much to say for like one of the first times in ages. I mean, a draw, like I'll take that 0-0. Our standards have dropped so low that we'll take a draw against Liverpool. And I think it's been like the 5th or 4th draw we've had against Liverpool, and again another 0-0 this season. And it just comes down to the attack again. I think Bruno came in for the first lineup he's ever done. I think it was quite well. I think I looked at the lineup, I was happy. I was happy with it. I saw I feel confident going in, and I think during the game there was some great individual performance, especially from that midfield. I think Enzo and Kante really linked up well together. I enjoyed watching that. And we know, when you got players like Fofana and Reece James and even Kante, when they're fit, they're class. And I've always backed these players, but it's always just been their injury problems. But when they're on that pitch, their class. But again, you look at Liverpool's side. Liverpool didn't have many of the big players. You know, Robertson was gone, Trent was gone, and Salah was gone. I thought this would be our time to capitalize. But then I look at our attack, and I look, it's the same thing. I like that front two of Kai Havertz and Felix. But then I look at Kai Havertz. He's not a finisher. I look at Felix. He's not a finisher. And then you put Kovacic as an 8. Another guy who's not a finisher. So I don't understand why the manager did this. But again, we don't have a manager. I'm not going to blame this Bruno guy. I didn't even know who he was until the guy came out, you know, and said, hey, I'm the manager. His first time he's put a lineup out. That's fine. But the same thing for Kai Havertz. He's shit. Like he's garbage. He needs to go. Like, it's simple as that. And then I keep looking at Felix. And I said this a month ago. I said, why are we judging Felix after one game when he came out against that Liverpool game? And it was like, sign him. I'm like, sign him for what? He's I'm calling the Portuguese off the sheep. I really like João Felix. I really like him. But he just doesn't have any end product. And what do we need in this team? An end product. We're signing Cuckoo. It's coming in August. Maybe that might change it. But are we going to really spend that 80 million, 100 million for him to possibly work out? As I said, I really like the guy. If we signed him, I wouldn't be upset. But there's no evidence telling me that this guy should be 100% signing. He needs to definitely prove to me he wants to take this club, because I've seen nothing really. I've seen some great skill, I've got some great, take on, some great passes, but his job's to be end product, isn't it? We played 2 9s today. And I think coming in the future, maybe playing him with a 9 might actually help. And in the coming weeks, is this Bruno guy going to bring back Aubameyang? And is he going to kind of finally show our only number 9? Or is this a case that it was actually Bowie's idea to drop Aubameyang? Because there was a kind of that rumor that it was Bowie's idea to drop Aubameyang, but I thought it was Potter's. So I want to see now whose idea was it? Because Aubameyang needs to come back. He's our only number 9. So I need to see that happen. And I'll just quickly say on the back, I think Koulibaly, Cucurella, again, I think they stepped up again today. I think they were okay. I really enjoyed watching them again. It's just a bit inconsistent at times. And then Kepa at the back was okay. Didn't have much to do, made a couple of decent saves. But we're going from here, man. Like, I mean, we don't have a manager at the wheel. It's fine. I was expecting a manager bounce win, possibly out of nowhere. But I'm with David. I would not be surprised if we go and win the Champions League. I would not be surprised. It'd be the most Chelsea thing ever. But to win the Champions League, we have to score a fucking goal. And I don't know who the hell can score a goal.
It's true. But I think to do that, there needs to be a manager that comes in. You need to go out, and it needs to be Nagelsmann or Enrique. If you announce one of those managers by the weekend, let's just say it was to happen that quickly, you don't normally get new manager bounces from the caretaker manager who's from the backroom staff of the fouled manager prior. It's the same people, the same coaches. Nothing's really changed. And there was a talk today that the team was still kind of picked by Graham Potter, like he's manager by proxy, because it's still his team there.
I don't think this was a Graham Potter line. It didn't look like Graham Potter line. We played
but that wasn't. If you listen to
the Graham Potter,
they asked the question to Bruno, and he acknowledged it and said, yeah, there's been a collaborational pick in this team, almost like we're going to take Graham Potter away and officially sack him. But him and his team are still kind of picking the side until we bring a new manager in. That's what it looks like to me, because
he was still saying after the game that the boys gave it the role as well. So, you got rid of the man, but you didn't kill the idea. The guy's still there.
Exactly. And that's why a new manager's needed. Like Winter Surfer, like, what did you make of it? Like, did it feel as good as you thought it would, your first game without Grandpa?
I got a real problem with the Chelsea fans who expect something when the ball goes into the box, when his players will get excited, because the result it's the same thing. They're going to miss. I mean, no one's talking about that Kovacic one in the second half where he blazed it over when he just needed it around Alisson, and he literally scooped and blazed it over the bar. I mean, João Felix, 2 goal contributions in 12 games now, is it? He'll get praised for a jinky run he did in the second half, and everyone will be, we got to sign him. Kai Havertz is Kai Havertz. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say about him. He's just one of the worst footballers to ever play for this club. He's just rubbish.
I mean, that's a bit far.
David, he's absolute rubbish.
David, he's garbage.
Absolute rubbish.
But again, like,
he's garbage, David.
I feel like no. Okay, is he of the level? No, but again, I feel like we're kind of going Havertz. We're focusing on Havertz as the issue when there's a greater issue of no one can score. It's not only Havertz that can't score; it's all of them that can't score.
The issue,
either you've got to get rid of all of these players.
The issue is this. Havertz again played another 90 minutes. Why? Why did he play another 90 minutes?
Because who else is going to play?
Well, that's the problem Matt said earlier. They refused to pick Aubameyang. They refused to pick Fofana. have him in the squad whatsoever.
But I agree with not playing Aubameyang.
But then,
I
but
agree
then,
with it.
but
Because you're
but then-
acting like why people are acting like Aubameyang is this savior who's going to start scoring all these goals.
But we have no
He's a
idea.
proven
We have
goal
He's
no
not
scorer.
idea.
going to. He's
Havertz
not going to.
isn't a
Yeah,
goal
but-
scorer.
Hang on.
He's not
but
gonna
It doesn't
the thing
matter
is
though.
this.
It doesn't matter. If you want to think of anyone in the squad right now that can actually finish chances, Aubameyang's a better finisher than Havertz,
No,
100%.
but my point is that there's why we're focusing on this season like we can salvage something. To me,
It's
makes no
not
sense.
that. It's what the thing is.
makes no
This.
sense.
The thing is
We're-
this.
we're
I want.
still getting points.
The thing you're playing a guy Havertz who does well in March every year. As soon as it comes to April again, he goes back to his usual self. Again, he plays. I don't know what instructions he's given. Terry, I said to you the other day when I sacked Potter, it's all good sacking Potter. You still got coaching staff there. What's the point? It's the same thing. Get them all out. Get Bruno out with his initials BS on the front of his shirt, and it showed. It's just ridiculous. It's just the same. And his subs again, Gallagher on the 65th minute again for what? For what? Why Gallagher
You
again?
couldn't kill the idea.
On the 65th minute to do what exactly? I don't. And it's just in parts I agree with Devin. I don't agree. It's like, what are you trying to salvage? I need a manager in now, not this wait for the summer.
No.
nonsense,
But
'cause
I agree. I want the manager in now. I want the manager in now, but it has to be the right person.
Yeah, I
And
totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I just-
100%. Yeah.
The only two people it can be is Nagelsmann or
Yeah.
Enrique. They're the
Yeah,
only
it's
two.
only them two. No one else. No one else
I
figures.
get
in
that.
my mind.
I want to ask Don a question. Who is the right guy to come in now, in your opinion, Don? Who should they be bringing in?
Boy, Terry, they've been killing me in the group chat for this. I think the best person for the job right now will be Poch. I'll be
Yes.
real.
Yes.
I think it'll be Poch.
Yes.
With-
Enrique or
with-
Poch? Yes.
Enrique or Poch, like with Nagelsmann, like I respect what he's done in his career, right? But I feel like people go over the top with what he's actually achieved within his career. I'm not against Nagelsmann, but with Poch, he's proven it in the Prem. He's got a pure record of actually developing young players in the Prem. At PSG, yes, he lost the league to Lille, but then he won it the following season. So he has won a few trophies. I know in the final moments, people have their concerns. I'm the same. I'm quite skeptical because when I look at the list of managers available now, there isn't an ideal candidate that I want. Ideally, I would have loved a manager like Ten Hag, who technically is can be a world-class manager. And on top of that, he can actually build projects as well. So he ideally is someone that I would like right now. I wish Man United got Poch and Ten Hag was still available. So when I'm looking at the list available now, managers that are actually available now, no one's jumping at me. But when I look at what Poch has done and what we've got right now, I feel that he would fit it best. But I was at the Bridge the past 2 games and I was at Leicester as well. Like the fans will never accept him. That's the only thing. He doesn't fit with what the fans need right now, especially what we've had with Poch recently. So it won't happen. But for me, I feel like Poch would be able to use the tools that we've got right now because we've got a lot of young players. We've literally got 2 world-class players in this squad, arguably Reece James when he's fit and Kante as well when he's fit. Other than that, it's only Silva. We need to develop these young players. And like I said, Poch knows the league. Nagelsmann is still a bit of a project manager. He is. So
I'd say Poch and Nagelsmann, there's no difference between them two.
no,
Because Nagelsmann, what he did with Hoffenheim and what he did at Leipzig is very similar to what he did at Tottenham. Because let's be honest, Hoffenheim before anyone, no one knew about Hoffenheim. David and I were the only 2 people that knew about Hoffenheim at the time, and he took Hoffenheim from basically mediocrity around about the relegation zone to Champions League football. And then he went on to RB Leipzig, and I think got to a couple of finals, but didn't do anything of note. Went to Bayern Munich, won a league title, then got sacked. The same thing with Poch. So the thing
is it Ram? Is it Ram? Sorry, I didn't catch your name, bro.
Is it Ram?
Yeah. Yeah, Ram, sorry. Yeah. What is with Poch? If he did this, what he did at Spurs for a different club, every single Chelsea fan would have a different opinion of him. I feel like a lot of the dismissing and a lot of the disrespect comes from the fact that he came from Tottenham. And he's got this whole thing about bottling it in the final moments. I mean, he lost to us in the final of the Carabao Cup. He was never beating us. He lost in the final of the Champions League, which, again, was a stupid decision in playing Harry Kane, who was injured all game, did nothing. So I'm skeptical the same way Chelsea fans are about him. But when I'm looking at what we've got right now and who I think would be able to build something with this current team, I'm looking at Poch. He knows the league. He's been here before. So when you mention his name, it's like people disrespect what he's done. He's not a bad coach. But I just feel like the fans, especially the match-going fans, they won't accept Poch. Not now.
Now, I'd argue there's no difference between Poch and Nagelsmann. I think
No,
I
yeah.
think they're more or less the same caliber for me. I think
The main
you guys
difference,
all,
though, Rams, is that
I think
Poch
guys,
and
you guys all need to look higher. From the Chelsea that
There
I know, I
isn't.
think you guys
Who's
need to look
available
higher.
now? Who's available
then,
now? Because Enrique,
I-
if you look at, sorry,
I
let me
can
just
understand
Ruben
the appeal,
Amorim.
though.
Ruben Amorim.
No, leave Ruben Amorim alone. Leave Ruben Amorim alone. He's my guy. Leave Ruben
if you
Amorim
look
alone.
at if you look at who's available right now, the only manager who's got a proven record of winning is Enrique, but he's only done it at Barcelona. That's not a big enough sample
I
size if
can
you're looking
understand
at
the Poch
at
point, though,
other
because
managers.
with the players you're buying a lot of young, unproven talents. Let's be honest, Nagelsmann is still classed as a young, especially if he comes to the Premier League, a young, unproven Premier League manager. Maybe what that group of players need is a manager who's got experience in the Premier League, who knows how to manage the media, who knows how to manage the expectations. Pochettino won't be the height of this Chelsea project. Not a chance. Pochettino is the height of it. But is he that ready-made stepping stone that Chelsea might need for this transition from young players with no experience to a group of slightly older players ready to enter their prime, ready to win stuff, that now have experience of the league, of how to deal with the media, etc. Maybe that is what they need, rather than Nagelsmann, who, yes, if it works and he's able to adapt to the league quick, could eventually be that long-term manager.
Terry, I'm sorry. I'm
Also
sorry.
a bigger
but-
risk.
Terry,
Go on,
I'm
Dion.
sorry, but it has to be either Enrique, and if it's not Enrique, Poch. These players are spoiled. It's been Sarri, Lampard, Tuchel, and now Potter. They do not deserve. We need a man, bro. And Nagelsmann is 35. Thiago Silva is 38. I need someone who's got authority, who's got experience, and that can lead these group of players. It has
What
to
about
be.
Simeone?
Simeone
No,
is the most
that makes
haram
no
football.
sense. That makes
Yeah,
no
but
no.
even
I love
at you
his
guys at
attitude,
your
though. His
best,
football's
at Jose Mourinho, you played sort of this
No,
course,
but- no,
so-called
but
haram
again-
football, bro. Come on,
but
stop
again,
it, man.
No.
The way
No.
the squad is built, it makes no
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
to do
you
that.
can't-
Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, if you look at
Okay,
if you look at it, I like Nagelsmann. I think it could end up being him because of what the infrastructure at Chelsea looks like. He would know people there. It would. I don't think he'd feel like a stranger walking in at Chelsea. But Poch, yeah, he might be. He very much could be too young. And I did read a rumor that he goes to work on a skateboard still.
I seen
yeah,
video
it
of
does,
him on
it
a
does, it does.
skateboard.
Yeah, that's for me. Grown men on scooters is a problem in London for me. I see grown men on that, and I just look at it and think hipster. That's what I think. And you don't need that. However, like Poch is better, I would say, but he's a bottle job. Chelsea should be going all out for Luis Enrique because I think he's the best available now that you could get. Nagelsmann could become that. There is Ruben Amorim again, though.
We got to buy him out of the club, and we've already
Got to
done
buy him
that.
out of club at the same
Yeah.
time. Every time there's a young Portuguese manager doing well in Portugal, everybody thinks Jose Mourinho 2.0, and it doesn't always work like that. Who's the guy that came in at Wolves and he was absolutely called?
Nuno.
Large.
Nuno Espirito
No,
Santo, yeah.
Bruno Lage.
Yeah,
Lage.
Bruno Lage, yeah.
when he was signed by Wolves, he was being spoken about in the same way that Amorim's been discussed. Go back and look at it. So I just think let someone else take that risk. Let someone else take it. Maybe not you. Luis Enrique should do it, but I do think, and it has been confirmed today that Chelsea have made contact with Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique. They're the first two that they have actually made contact with and spoken to. But you need them in quickly. You really do. We're going to go to some super chats here. The first one, this is funny. Bowley really thought that Fabrizio Here We Go was a trophy. That's actually, I quite like that. Liverpool have scored 1 goal and 0 wins since little Tommy's epic celebration on the terrace after the 7-0 game. Back to irrelevance, you bums, is what
I don't regret a single second of that celebration
stuff, bro.
either.
Cool
I don't
stuff.
regret
I
a
don't
single
care.
second. Take me back there. I'll go through all this again to relive that 7-0. That's how bad we've been this season.
lies. Cover is almost 30 and this brother can't shoot. All these years, man couldn't stay an hour after training and practice. He's shooting on goal is baffling.
It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah, it's crazy how some footballers just can't score goals. And the ones that are good passers, I'm not saying Cover's are great as a passers, they're the weirdest ones because you think it's just passing it into the net.
Yeah,
Terry, he scored.
that's my
last
point.
Year, Terry, last year against Liverpool, he scored a banger outside the box on a volley.
That goal had
once every 7 games.
that goal
There's no
made no
between
sense
them.
for me, man.
Yeah, I
It
know.
made
That's
no
what I'm
sense.
talking about.
This here says, I wish we could get a statement win at Anfield it's on Sunday, not Saturday, but maybe you're in a different country where it's going to be Saturday. Actually, that's Australian dollars. It's going to be basically Monday when they play for you lot. I'm just worried about which Liverpool will turn up. How do you guys, panel, how do you think the game on Sunday is going to go?
I just
after Liverpool? How's it going to go?
Statement win. We're eighth.
What's the
How was a mid-table? I was beating a mid-table team a statement win.
I tell you why. I tell you why it's a statement win, because they're nervous about going there because they don't win there. They've won there in 11 years. So
Yeah.
for them,
Leeds hadn't won at Anfield for 17 odd years.
yeah, but
and
look at
we
happened with
aren't the same.
Tom. Look what happened with Man United. There was a feeling that we could go there with your bad form and get you. I don't think Liverpool were worried about being embarrassed, but I think if Liverpool beat you on Sunday, what it does for their mentality and confidence, it's that signature away win they haven't had this year. That's what it is.
They'll bounce back, Terry. If they lose, they'll bounce back. It is
Either
what it
way,
is.
though, let's not deflect from the question. How's it going to go on Sunday, boy? How's it going on Sunday?
5-0 Arsenal.
Boy.
They're taking it past us. We play into their hands. We are their perfect opposition.
You rested all your players, man.
Imagine Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard against our high line. Bear in mind, our high line has the weirdest thing where our centre backs lead the press. How many times did Chelsea get in behind today because Konate was at attacking midfield or Matip was in centre midfield? So we've got one centre back there, and it's two, and you're sitting there going, "Well, how's this happened?" Imagine, and this is a Chelsea team that can't attack. Imagine Saka, Trossard, Odegaard, Martinelli up against that. Chelsea should have had 3 in the first 15. Arsenal will have 3 in the first 15.
Yep.
That's the difference. We're not winning.
We'll have to beg that Alisson's on some next level thing, man. That's all I can say.
Our captain will square up to him and shoulder barge him because he makes a save that isn't good enough.
Do you know how I see it? Yeah, if you guys let Arsenal score first, it is gonna be a bloodbath, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not gonna stop. So if you guys want to win this game, you have to score first. You have to score first because it's a bit different at the Emirates. Because like at the Emirates, right, they just don't stop. When they concede first, they just go again. But away, they might have it in the back of their head, like we never win over here. It's big Anfield. Your crowd are going to be up for it. I think if you guys score first, then yeah, that's the only way you have half a chance. But other than that, I just don't see you guys winning.
That's kind of every game, you know. If you don't score first, we don't win, or we don't even draw. If we concede first, we're going to lose the game. That's how it is every.
I agree. Listen, your fans might turn up, your players might turn up on this game and beat Arsenal and dent their title hopes. But the way I've seen Liverpool fans online this last week, you've all seen the videos that we've put out. The Arsenal have fluked it. The way Ian Doyle was attacked them and said that one of the biggest reasons Arsenal are top is because nobody's taken them seriously. There was a genuine fear, I think, for the game, but massively because Klopp's Premier League legacy could be equaled by an individual that Liverpool fans plus other rivals were calling a cone man 12 months ago. There was genuine fear, and this could be that catalyst game that gives them that final push of kind of belief in the title run-in that sends them over the line. And I think that's why Jurgen Klopp rested so many players today. He didn't drop all of them, maybe one or two, but he's resting them for Sunday because I think there's this element of we don't want to be the ones who give Arsenal that shot in the arm in going into their final 8 games, already 8 points clear of Manchester City. The embarrassing element of that, though, is it just goes to prove there's 2 things I've noticed this week. One, that rivalry between you and City is a dead rivalry. It's a fake rivalry. Because why would you? Because you're going to go 5-1 down if Liverpool get their wish and City win it. You're 5-1 down. That's no rivalry. Secondly, like Pep knows the rivalry's dead as well. That's why he was celebrating with you guys on Sunday, dancing with you, man, on the pitch. He was shaking your hands. That's the longest I've seen Arthur Melo on camera all season, dancing with Pep. So yeah, this is a massive game.
He never even played under him. That's the annoying thing. He never played under Pep. I don't know why he's gonna shook his hand.
He's a little bitch. That's why he's a little bitch. I've got no respect for him, man.
No, he wants to go and touch a winner. He wants to be around a winner this year. The man has been at winning clubs for years, and he goes to Liverpool, and you literally go back to the Roy Hodgson era. That's why he
He
wanted to touch someone. He wanted to touch
He
somebody.
needs a season highlight, man. He needs a season highlight.
Exactly.
You
He'll
know
be
what I
able to go
mean?
home to his kids and say, I know I had a terrible season, kids, but I
Exactly.
met Pep Guardiola again. That's why he's doing
Oh
it.
my days.
That's why he's doing it. But yeah, I'm not doing my prediction yet. That'll come later in the week. And I think the scoreline will be close. But if you guys bottle it like you've done in your last 3 games, you could be humbled and embarrassed and crucified at Anfield to end your season. And I'm not going to lie, I'll be necking some 7-Up if that happens, 110%. I'll be necking that shit. We've
Terry, I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans run this narrative that if they win the league, right, they're gonna have the exact same amount. Mikel Arteta is gonna have the exact same amount as Klopp, who, again, he's given Liverpool fans a lot of their best memories the past few years, right? But what's going to be the narrative if Mikel Arteta bottles this league then? Because that will be another thing that is bottled on his
He's
CV,
not
right?
bottling it, man.
That's the semi-final. No, but if they lose against Liverpool, I don't see them beating City. I just don't see it. I don't see it. City only 8 points behind. There's 9 games to go. There's still enough games to go.
Can I just say something? I've this year I've gone through a lot with seeing Arsenal be really good, and it's actually not been good for my health. But the more all of us fans need to actually come together and realize the more we keep saying this, the more Arsenal are gonna, when they win that title, they're gonna scream and boast. They're never gonna let us.
They're gonna do that anyway, though. They're gonna do that.
The more we say they're gonna bottle it, it's gonna happen anyway. Too much. It's gonna be way too much. Let's just.
Bro, they do that after every cut round they progress. They boast. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think we've all come to the acceptance. We've all come to the acceptance that they're going to win it.
But what will the narrative be? Like to throw that back at you, Don. If they don't win it, would you consider it bottling it? If the team that I mean, this is the way I look at it. This is why I say younger generation don't know how to banter. You can't say City are clear of Arsenal and Arsenal don't deserve to be there, and then call it bottling it if they don't win it, because your two opinions contradict.
Yeah.
The only way you get to call Arsenal bottlers is by praising how good they are and making them favourites. So do you see them as favourites, or do you see?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I've been saying it. Yeah, from when they beat Liverpool at the Emirates, I said you guys are in the title race. And that was back in October. I said it from early. They were all telling me, like, all my boys are Arsenal fans, like, nah, we're not in there. When I said you're in the title race, you've beaten Liverpool, right? You've beaten Spurs. You are in the title race, whether you like it or not. You're in there, and now it's in their hands. I don't believe they'll beat City at the Etihad, and I pray that Liverpool do something at Anfield, right? Because I can't have Arsenal winning this league. No, it can't happen. But honestly, I do think they're going to win the league. They're favourites right now. It's in their hands. So yeah, if they don't win it, it's a big bottle job. That's going to be another thing to add to the CV from Mikel. Sorry, Ram.
I just want to delve into this a bit more. So if in your words they bottle it and it goes to TV, do you think what's the ramification of that? Do you think this will damage their confidence and they'll go backwards next year? Do you think it will galvanise them and they'll go back to the next level? Like, what do you think the knock-on effect of that will be?
Yeah, no, I think the knock-on effect will definitely be around them and what they do next season. Because if they're doing the exact same thing, they've started off well, and they're picking up points the way they have been this season, then, a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be quite skeptical, and a lot of rivals are going to be able to say, look what happened last season with Mikel. Because what they're saying now is it's not the same Arsenal, right? But if he does do that, it's technically the same Arsenal because they've done it. They've gone and done it again. So for me, I think it's definitely going to hurt them next season when it comes to showing a bit of chest, because it's like, oh yeah, but you bottled it last season. You can't really have that chest that you've got right now. They've got a lot of chest because they have been playing the best football in the league. But I'm sorry, if Mikel doesn't win it, if they don't win it from here, then that is a massive failure. Massive failure.
I don't know about that in terms of the players, because you could use the argument when Liverpool lost the league in 18-19, you could have said the same thing, but we ended up going that step further and winning the league. I think whatever happens, whether if they lose the league or win the league, even though I don't like saying this, they will still be up there. Sadly, they will still be up there. Whether they'll be challenging the league or maybe going far in the Champions League. I pray to God that doesn't happen. But yeah,
I don't think they're going to fall off. They're only going to get better. And the thing is, look, I'm a Chelsea fan, right? A lot of my friends are Arsenal fans, right? And I'm a football guy. I like watching how Arsenal play. It's just their fan base are unbearable. That's the main thing with Arsenal. I just don't like their fan base, but I enjoy watching them play. That's what it is.
Do you know what it is? Like, I actually think like most fan bases have got unbearable people. United had a really good run this year, and I was seeing United fans do far too much. And I've always been quite. Some people disagree with this, but I've always been fairly humble in the sense of especially in the build up to games. I always typically, even when I predict that we'll beat a team, I very rarely talk about smashing them, annihilating them. And that's why I don't really get clipped up for my predictions, because for me, there's a thing about tempting fate. But there's a lot of Man United fans that do it. Arsenal fans are giddy now. They're loving where they're at. And what we've got to remember is why they're so noisy is they have been essentially the butt of the joke in the entire social media era of football. Chelsea have had bad moments, United have had bad moments, but Arsenal have always been the banter club. So, of course, now that they're winning, they are going to fry it back in everybody's faces tenfold, especially as they're on the edge of winning a Premier League with a manager that every rival said to them, keep him, we'll never win you anything. For them, it's just egg on all of our faces, and we have to just take that medicine. In terms of them bottling it, if they do, I agree with Ram. I don't think it would be enough to knock them off course at this moment in time. However,
it's a narrative.
It's a narrative, and it's a suggestion to put out there. If it was to happen again the following season, say they got to a Champions League final or leading in the title race or whatever it may be, and they fell away at the end, if it keeps happening, it can. Where we saw that there's a case in point for it with the Champions League final between Tottenham and Liverpool. Liverpool had fouled multiple finals under Klopp until that one. Poch had fouled in title races and finals up until that one. And my view of that final was the team that loses will regress. The team that wins will go on to another level. And we saw that happen. That could happen to Arsenal, but you're talking 1 or 2 seasons along the line, I think, because there's still there's so much youth in there. I don't think they'll be beaten just yet. But if they were to bottle it and then bottle something the following year and maybe the year after that, you then could get to a point where the players just stop believing in what they're doing. And when look at Liverpool this year, when the belief goes, you can't win anything. So yeah,
guys, I wasn't referring to the players. I was referring to the fan base and the rivals when it comes to the chat, not the players. I don't think the players are gonna be demotivated by it. No, definitely not. They're gonna go again. They're gonna go again.
I hear what you're saying there. But it's going to be an interesting weekend, nevertheless. Look, it's an interesting night tonight. It was such a weird game because there wasn't really much in the game to sort of talk about. Matt, from your point of view, who did you say you want to see come into Chelsea, Matt?
I've always been just, for me, get Graham Potter and bring anyone in, to be honest with you, because I look at the candidates and I would not take a Poch. Far from it. I would not take a Poch. I don't think he's the right guy as we speak. I think we've got to go for someone who who has a CV with him. And for me, when we sacked Tuchel, I was all on, get me Enrique, get me even Hansi Flick. I'm not really, progressed by them. I'm not really convinced by them. But it's someone at the moment. We need someone to get. For me, I'm going to keep saying it. I think we never should have sacked Thomas Tuchel. And if we ever were, you don't get me in Graham Potter. And I think if Thomas Tuchel was at this club, it would have been a different story. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But I think the best manager to get, as we speak, is possibly an Enrique or Nagelsmann. I wouldn't mind any of them too, but I wouldn't take a Poch. Even that Ruben guy, no one said anything about him, just before the Arsenal game. No one, he beat Arsenal, and now all the Chelsea fans want him out of nowhere. So I would not take him.
To be fair, Tom has.
Yeah, Tom's a Liverpool supporter. I'm talking about Chelsea fans.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. There's a super chat here that says Nagelsmann's coming this week. Apparently, I've seen some of those rumors out there that he could be on his way in. Terry, let's talk about Mudryk. He's been doing an OJ. That's a bit harsh, but he hasn't been killing it, has he? So he hasn't been. It's the opposite. Why doesn't Chelsea use a false 9? They have players for it. It's so confusing why they play every position, player out of position, square pegs in round holes.
They don't have any.
We do.
But they don't have any goal scoring wingers to do that. They've only got Raheem Sterling who does that.
You have to play wingers first to actually have goals.
You don't play with wingers.
That's so true. Despite bumbling Chelsea panel telling you otherwise, the only Chelsea attacker that ever puts up numbers and provides clutch moments is Mason Mount.
It's not.
It's far from it. I didn't want to get onto Mount.
He's been linked to Man United today. He's been linked to Man United.
Keep it with that, please. Don't no more Liverpool.
It says Arsenal are better away than at home this season. That's actually true. Arsenal's away form is better than their home form. This is crazy. I hope Kai gets an injury. Then we have to play for Fana and Sterling up front. I'm desperate for Kai to get an injury, someone take him out, break his
That's
leg.
weird.
No.
We don't. I don't
No,
condone that. We don't
no,
condone that. We don't
no.
condone that. Yeah.
But I
No.
tell you something.
Nav,
But-
I tell you,
that's mad, Nav.
No.
I tell you something right now. If Kai got injured, we'd play Sterling and Felix up front. We wouldn't play a striker.
I thought you were going to say we'd still pick him.
I mean, what would be the difference? If he's
You'd put
injured
him
or
in
not?
goal. You'd put him in goal. Come on, Nav. You don't need to say things like that, by the way. Hold it down, man. Arteta hasn't bottled anything. He has exceeded expectations at every point. I never dreamt we would be title challengers in 2023. Suddenly, you call us favourites. Pick a standard is what.
Can I reply to that? Terry?
Yeah,
Because
of course you
Top four loss season.
if we don't win the Champions League, like you lot don't win this league, yeah, just don't end up trophyless like us after the season that we've had. That's it. That's what I'm gonna say about that. So just make sure you get this league wrapped up.
Even if you exceeded expectation, you can bottle it. Like, as in, you're at this moment, you are on course to win the league compared to every other season. You're ahead of I think the only team that you're not ahead of in terms of point value at this point is the Centurions team. So if
They
you
need to get out of this mentality
you will
that
bottle it. And like every single sorry, let me finish. Every
Go on.
single Arsenal fan under the sun last season said they were going to get into the Champions League. So how come you didn't finish fourth then? How come you let Tottenham finish fourth? You must have bottled it then.
I think, look, for me, I look at it along the lines of I get why they don't want the narrative being bottled, but I've changed my tune with United. We must finish in the top four now. Otherwise, it's complete disappointment. You can call it bottling it because we were in a very commanding position. We've allowed ourselves to get sucked back into the race. And so I do get that. Tevin here says we've been stepped for so many years. Everyone telling us we were crap and we have to eat. We had to eat all the corn. Every step of progression, we've been told we aren't good enough, and now we are seen as unbearable. Tevin, by the way, the way Arsenal fans are behaving has been created by rivals bantering them. It's almost a product like, is it, what's his name? It's Frankenstein, isn't it? That's what it basically is.
It's that bottled up anger they've been having for the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
Frankenstein. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is. It Gal's the worst at it. You could see all the times he's been laughed at comes out after every win. Navia says, I don't wish that on anyone, but this is beyond nicking a living by walking and not chasing down anyone. Can't shoot, makes no effort to help the midfield. Useless footballer. He makes Wilshere look good. And how many of these panelists put us in top four?
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean
I
anything.
didn't make a prediction.
I did.
But I think I did.
I put them fifth.
I put you fourth because I knew Spurs' transfer window was the most overrated transfer window I'd ever seen in my life. When you had that, was it the 6 Spence for Jed Spence, and then they had the backup goalkeeper they were adding as one of their 6 signings.
No, but either way, even if I said you're going to finish 5th or 6th, I said you'll win the Europa
Well, hang
League.
on,
I
let's-
said you are getting Champions League football
Ram,
next season.
let's reverse this. Where did this guy have Arsenal finishing at the start of the season?
Yeah, it's a great
Did you
point.
have you finishing in top 4?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a great point. However, we are at the end of the show, people, because I need to go to bed. I want to say to everyone, thank you for tuning in. My super chatters, you're amazing. Please go and download the Top 6 podcast now. Scan the QR code that's above Matt's head on the screen, or click on the link in the description. Put us on auto download so you don't miss any episodes that come out on there, and give us a nice 5-star rating as well. Record-breaking day for the Terrace in terms of downloads, but go and add some more. Be very, very amazing for us if you could go and do that right now. Like all 3,500 of you should go and do it. Really, you should all go and do it. There's no excuses. But we're back tomorrow with more content. Me and Big Steve will be on. We'll be reacting to something in the morning. I don't know what. I have to get up in the morning and see. And of course, match reactions to Man United versus Brentford. Make sure you're all back with us. We love rivals tuning in. Some of you are new to the Terrace. The whole idea is rivals coming together to talk football. But until next time, thank you all my panelists as well. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.